Chimney Sweeper by William Blake. Imagine being only 6 or 7 years old and spending your days climbing inside narrow, soot filled chimneys. No school, no childhood, only darkness, danger, and hard labor. This was the harsh reality of for thousands of children during the Industrial Revolution in England. William Blake witnessed this injustice and transformed it into poetry. And so he took an opportunity and spoke out his feelings about this topic. His two poems, both titled The Chimney Sweeper, expose the suffering of child labor, while criticizing the society that allowed it. During the 18th century, the early 19th century, young boys often sold or apprenticed as chimney sweepers. They were their small bodies could squeeze into the narrow chimneys to remove soot. The work was extremely dangerous. Many children suffered burns, lung diseases, suffocation, and even death. Yet society largely ignored their sufferings. William Blake believed that such exploitation was both immoral and unchristian. Through his poetry, he gave a voice to these forgotten children. William Blake was an English poet, artist, and visionary. He published Songs of Innocence in 1789 and Songs of Experience in 1794. These two collections present contrasting views of life. Songs of Innocence represents the world through the eyes of a child. It emphasizes purity, hope, trust, and imagination. Songs of Experience, on the other hand, presents a world shaped by suffering, corruption, and inequality and disillusionment. The two versions of such as Chimney Sweeper perfectly illustrate these contrasting perspectives. Let us begin with the chimney sweeper from Songs of Innocence. The speaker is a young chimney sweeper who tells us that after his mother's death, his father sold him into this dangerous occupation. While he was still very young, despite the hardship, the child accepts his situation with remarkable innocence. He befriends another young chimney sweeper named Tom Darker. Tom is deeply upset after his curly white hair is shaved, but the narrator comforts him. And the speaker, this other chimney sweeper, comforts him by explaining that without his hair, the soot cannot spoil its beauty. That night, Tom has a remarkable dream. He dreams that thousands of chimney sweepers are locked inside black coffins. Suddenly, an angel appears carrying a bright golden key. The angel opens the coffins and setting all the children free. The children run joyfully across the green fields, wash themselves in a clear river, laugh together, and play under the warm sunshine. Free from soot and suffering, they experience happiness, purity, and peace. Before disappearing, the angel tells Tom that if he remains a good boy and performs his duty faithfully, God will become his father and he will never lack joy. Tom awakens the next morning with renewed hope. Although he must return to cleaning chimneys, he believes that goodness will eventually be rewarded. On the surface, this poem appears comforting and hopeful. However, Blake subtly raises an important question. Does religion encourage these children to accept their suffering now by promising happiness only after death, only in the afterlife? Instead of challenging injustice, are these promises simply making the children more obedient? This hidden criticism makes the poem far more complex than it first appears. Now let us turn to the chimney sweeper from the Songs of Experience. Unlike the first poem, the child in this version fully understands the injustice of his life. The poem begins with a passerby noticing a small child dressed in the dark clothing of a chimney sweeper. The child is asked where his parents are. His reply is both simple and heartbreaking. He explains that because he appeared cheerful and playful, his parents believed that he would not mind becoming a chimney sweeper. They dressed him in clothes of suffering and taught him to sing songs of sorrow. Meanwhile, his parents have gone to church to pray. Blake uses this situation to expose religious hypocrisy. The parents perform acts of worship while ignoring the suffering of their own child. Society praises morality and religion, yet allows children to endure exploitation and misery. The child explains that because he smiles and appears obedient, people believe no harm has been done. This bitter irony reveals how easily society ignores suffering when it is hidden behind silence and acceptance. Unlike in the first poem, there is no comforting dream, no angel, no promise of immediate hope. Instead, the poem directly accuses the parents, the church, the government for creating a system that sacrifices innocent children while pretending to act in the name of God and virtue. Together, these two poems create one of Blake's most powerful social commentaries. The first poem shows innocence, children who believe in hope despite their sufferings. The second poem reveals the experience, a child who has learned the painful truth about society's hypocrisy. Using these contrasting perspectives, Blake demonstrates how innocence is gradually destroyed by exploitation and injustice. From a literary perspective, the poems are rich in symbolism and contrast. The black chimneys and black coffin symbolize imprisonment, suffering, and death. The angel represents hope and spiritual freedom, while the green fields and flowing river symbolize innocence, renewal, and liberation. Blake repeatedly contrasts darkness with light, truth with purity, and oppression with freedom to emphasize the gap between the children's reality and the life they deserve. His language is deceptively simple. The poems resemble nursery rhymes, making the tragic subject even more disturbing. Through symbolism, irony, repetition, and lyricist imagery, Blake transforms the voices of children into a powerful protest against social injustice. The major themes of the poem include child labor, poverty, innocence, and experience, social inequality, religious hypocrisy, exploitation, hope, freedom, and loss of childhood. Although Chimney Sweeps was written more than 200 years ago, its message remains relevant today. Around the world, many children continue to face exploitation, hazardous work, and denial of basic rights. William Blake reminds us that a truly civilized society is just not by its wealth or power, but by the way it treats its most vulnerable members.